What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media, and welcome to episode 6 of the Ask Dr. Nick show. Just got back into Chicago from being in Denver for the last 5 days or so. I was out at Elite Chiropractic Coaching Boot Camp with Dr. Fred DiDomenico, and if you guys haven't checked him out, you absolutely should. We did an amazing interview for the podcast, which will be coming out either next week or the week after. And just an awesome guy. He does such a good job of getting doctors' mindset right so you can help influence more people in your community. So I would for sure check that out if you're struggling with converting patients into care and then turning them into what he calls lifestyle patients, which is like the next step beyond lifetime patients. So we got some good questions today. Excited to dive into that. If you have any questions for any future shows, please either contact me on Facebook or on Instagram. Use hashtag #AskDrNick and just ask your question, and I'll be sure to work that into a future show. All right, so let's dive right in. So number one, what is the best way to say thank you to a patient for referrals? When it comes to referrals, I mean, I always think that a handwritten note is going to be the best thing that you can do. Obviously, we can't do anything like, sending them gift cards or things of value in the mail, but I really think that that they're not going to refer to you just because, like, if you send them a $10 gift card in the mail, I don't think that that's going to create any more urgency for them to refer the next person. What it really comes down to is the results that you get in the practice, and their personal relationship with you. I think that if you just acknowledge the referral, that's usually going to be your best bet. So a nice handwritten note, and just making a system out of it. Making it to where the front desk knows that when there's a referral that comes in, they get a card, they put a sticky note on it. If your handwriting is terrible, maybe they write the thing out and you can sign it. But just writing it out to where it doesn't seem canned, take the couple of minutes. It's not like people are waiting because they don't even know. Like, they might have told somebody about you and they might not have come in for 2 weeks after they told you. So it's not like they're waiting for the referral thank you. So I think that doing those once a week, just having the front desk make a stack of the cards that she can put together, put on your desk, have a sticky note on each one of them of who the referring patient, like who are you writing the note to, and then who is the person that they referred in. So but you've got to make it a system. If you try to do it, just one-offs here and there, it won't get done. So just set aside a time, maybe like on Tuesday or Thursday or whenever you've got some admin time in the office. That would be a great use of your time. All right, question number 2. How do we get more reviews from patients? So this is a really common question that I get of just how can people get more reviews on the different sites. So just in general, just to kind of talk about the where you can get reviews and what the level of importance is. So the 3 different places that you can get reviews are obviously Google, Facebook, and Yelp. So Facebook has done away with the star ratings. And now they have if someone recommends or doesn't recommend, and you still get a rating on Facebook. So it must be like a 5-star and a 1-star if they go one of 2 ways. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's kind of a newer change that happened earlier this year. Google is by far and away like 1,000 times more important, I think, than any of the other ones for 80 to 90% of the offices. If you're in a big city where Yelp is an important thing, Yelp is actually probably a little bit more important than Google. I think that Yelp, people that use Yelp go there for the reviews, but honestly, like they're all really important. The nice part about the review sites is if somebody leaves you a review on one, they may be willing to leave you a review on all 3. So in any place that's not like a really Yelp heavy community, which is the vast majority of the places in the country, I would say that Google reviews are just so important. You know, you get them one time and they're there forever. So it's the only really objective way for people to choose when they're typing in, you know, chiropractor city state or chiropractor near me. When that map box comes up, it's you know, the rest of them, they can't really tell if they're going to Google to try to find a chiropractor. They don't really have any thoughts on who's better than who. So that gives them some type of an objective way to decide. And some people read the reviews, other people just look at the numbers, and then Google obviously uses the number of reviews as one of its ranking criteria. So I think that you should focus on Google. Yelp is the next best review site after Google, unless you're in a big city. And Yelp is tough because they have to have done some reviews. So if you can actually look somebody up on Yelp, you can put in their name or their email address and see if they're a Yelper. If they are a Yelper, I would ask for that first, just because those are a little bit harder to get. With Yelp, I would have them check in. So, because then Yelp follows up with them. And if they're a Yelper, they're probably going to, especially if they have a lot of reviews, they'll be used to that and they'll do it themselves. So Yelp is really strict about any kind of reviews that they think are solicited. So you want to make sure you do it the right way. Just have the person check in. Yelp will do the follow-up for them. And then Facebook, I think, is the least important of the three. It's important to, like, same thing with Facebook. If you have them check in, I believe Facebook follows up with them to ask them if they recommend it or not. So getting them to check in into your office on Facebook, I think, will help get some of those naturally. So the question, though, was how do we get more reviews from patients? And honestly, it really just comes down to asking. There's no real magic bullet when it comes to getting more reviews. The number one thing that you can do as a doctor is to ask for them when somebody has gotten a good result. Like with the good result, like that could happen on day 3, that could happen on day 100, doesn't really matter. The re-exams are great times to be checking in with them and seeing if whether it's a testimonial or whether it's a review, asking for those then. So I would, the way that I would recommend it is, like, you know, say somebody has gotten a good result, just saying, you know, hey, you know, Mary, I know that you've gotten awesome results. I'm so excited that you know, you're feeling better and your headaches are gone. And you know, we got a lot of people from the internet now, and one of the things that they choose us by is our reviews. And you know, we're a mission-based practice, and we're trying to get better at asking for them. Would you be willing to do a review for us on your experience in the office? And I mean 9 times out of 10, if you're just sitting there asking the person to their face, they're just not, because like a video testimonial, they at least have the excuse of like, oh, I didn't do my hair today. Or with a Google review, it's easy. And then once they say yes, make sure that you're sending them the link, you know, via text or however you communicate with the patients. It's easiest if you text it. Send it to them right away so it's fresh in their mind, and they can leave the review very simply. So all of these automations, it's like they'll work in the beginning. Like they'll send, you know, basically every one of your visits will get, you know, how do you rate us 1 to 5? They hit 5, that sends them an automated follow-up that says, you know, would you mind leaving it on Google? And you know, 1% of those people that leave a 5 on the text are going to actually put it in the review. So it's an okay way to get like 1 or 2 a week on you know, kind of autopilot. But you asking for them, you should be getting 1 a day basically. So just be sure to ask. Number 3, when we do get a review, how should we respond? So obviously you can have one of 2 types of reviews, either positive or negative. So positive review, you just have to be careful with HIPAA. Just make sure that you're not, it's best to just like keep them simple. Just be like, thanks for the review. Really, you just want to show Google that you're responding to these, because that's another thing that Google is looking at in terms of relevance. Is, are you responding to reviews? So that's one of the things that they track. So you want to respond to every one of them, no matter what. So just keeping it very simple with the thanks for your review or thanks for the feedback for positive ones. Now with negative ones, you still have to be careful to where you're not, sharing any information about their conditions or them being a patient or any of that. But I am not a big fan of like defending yourself against the review. Now, what I do recommend when you get a negative review is, especially if it's a review where someone has where it's like a miscommunication. Maybe it's a problem with the front desk, or they got rescheduled and they didn't want to. I mean, and you never know what could be the reason that triggered the negative review. And I'm talking like 1, 2, or 3 stars, basically. Like 4, I don't really worry too much about, but 1, 2, or 3 stars, if I can tell who it is, like if it's a patient, like I'm getting on the phone right away to try to see if we can't fix the problem. So if it's, especially if it's a communication issue, like I've been able to fix, I think 3 1-star reviews at this point, because they were problems that could be solved. And it's not that the staff really did anything wrong. It's just that the person, like they were mad about something, they didn't get the answer that they wanted. And so I had to kind of step in and try to smooth things over. So trying to reach out to people, if it's their name and that that's a patient and you have their information, I would call them right away, like immediately, like while it's fresh in their mind. Try to get things fixed. See if you can't fix the problem. I'm pretty sure that they can't even delete it. Like once they left the review, they can't delete the review. So they would have to change it. And so I've actually gotten, I think 2 of the 3, we fixed the problem. They changed it from 1 to 5. The other one, it was like, there wasn't really any fixing it, but she kind of understood where we were coming from, that it was like a policy and blah, blah, blah. And she changed it to a 3. So, a 1-star takes 25 stars to counterbalance that 1 star. So trying to figure out if you can fix the problem. Now, when I do these strategy sessions with doctors, I see a lot of bad reviews, and some of them are it's just a situation that was, a lot of times it has to do with money, or they didn't, they wanted to come in one time and they were mad because the doctor does care plans and wouldn't see him one time. There's situations that there's no like talking your way out of. With those, it's I would just try to be empathetic to the person, and you can say something, because of HIPAA restrictions, we're not allowed to discuss anything on here, but here's my office number. Please contact me and we can see if we can handle it. If the review is just, again, horrendous, and it was something that, they're going to know, like they don't want to talk to you about it anymore, then I would just say something along the lines of, I'm so sorry that we, had this misunderstanding, or just being like I see a lot of responses where people are just getting so defensive, and it makes them look bad. It like doesn't fix the negative review. It makes the doctor, I would think in the general public's mind, if someone was reading that it just makes them look small. So I would really avoid having, going back and forth with negative reviews. So again, regardless if it's positive or negative, you've got to respond to it, just because again, Google wants you to respond to these, but you need to stay out of getting into a back and forth with them in the comment section. All right, number 4, when creating content, should we stick with video or would a podcast be a good idea? So I think, I'm a big believer in and conversations, not or conversations. So I think as much as you can do, is what you should do. Now, if somebody, so there's three kinds of content. There's video, written, and audio. So audio is going to be podcasts, written are going to be, blogs or, posts on social, and then video is obviously going to be a video. Now, what I like to do, like I did four podcast interviews this weekend when I was in Colorado, and two of them I did in the hotel room. So I brought my podcast stuff, and I brought the mics and the stands and and I travel with iPhones. I use iPhone cameras for the podcast interviews just because I don't like traveling with cameras. They're hard to set up. They're bulky. So I have three iPhones. So I have three different angles. And then I've got little collapsible tripods that I put those on. And then I've got nice microphones and mic stands that connect to like a table or something. And then two lights. So that's what I bring with me. And so I had that set up in the hotel room, and I did two of the interviews there. So that was great. But then when I go off site, I don't want to bring everything with me. So I just brought the cameras and the stands, and we did them in places that had plenty of lights. So we didn't really need the lights. So when I did those, I, just like with this, I'm capturing the video, like I'm doing a Facebook Live right now and an Instagram Live. But then we're going to take this video and we'll do a little production to it. Not much, but just like a little bit of cleaning it up on the front and the back. And we'll put that out next Sunday. So every Sunday we do a video, or we post this video that I do live. We post that on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then we take the audio and we put that onto the podcast. So you don't always have to think of them as separate. Like you could make videos out of a podcast. So if you're gonna choose one, let's say you're doing zero content, right? And you want to get started. What I would do is I would choose the one that you're actually gonna do on a regular basis. Like if you like video, then I think videos are the easiest to make because you can just pull your phone out and shoot it and it's done, 3 to 5 minutes of talking about something. So if you are fine with video, I would start there. If you hate video and you aren't going to do it, because it doesn't really matter that, like, I think video is more important if you're not going to do it. If you're not going to do it, then do the thing you're going to actually accomplish, like you're actually going to get done. So I would say if you're a writer and you don't want to be on video, then start writing blogs. Do, one a week or one a month, something so you're consistently putting your thoughts on out into the world. And then the podcast I actually think is the easiest to execute. The problem is you have another person involved a lot of the times with a podcast. Like if you're doing an interview, you have another person involved. Now, if you're just doing yourself and you're just, the 3 tips on how to detox after the holidays or something, and you just want to talk, and that's actually easier than video. Because then you can just talk into your voice memo, or if you have a mic, you can talk into that and just get the audio for that. So if you're not interviewing people, that's probably the easiest one. When you're interviewing, though, it's hard because you have to coordinate schedules, and sometimes you have to travel to go make it convenient for them. So I would say, pick the one that you're going to get done. But if you're open to a content strategy, the question was, when creating content, should we stick with video or could a podcast be a good idea? A podcast is a great idea. A podcast is a great idea because you're hosting the party. You're able to invite people onto your podcast that you want to connect with. So if you want to network with, a pediatrician in the area, like if you do pediatrics, that's a great, Tony Ebel and I talked about being able to network with people and then shooting a video or doing a podcast interview with other people that have your ideal patient in their offices. If you want to do personal injury, inviting the personal injury attorneys on. If you want to network with medical doctors or gyms, I doing this podcast, I've realized what a benefit that is, because it allows me to expose the people that that I have relationships with that I think are really smart to my audience. And then I also get exposure to their audience when the episodes get posted. So I think that both video and podcast is a great idea. And if you're recording the podcast, that's what we call a pillar piece of content. So out of the pillar piece of content, maybe you do a 30-minute interview, and you, like, let's say you did a little 90-second explanation of something, and it was just it was the best 90 seconds in that 40 minutes. You can clip that 90 seconds out, and then you could push that out as advertising on social. Or maybe the person you were interviewing had a really good 1 minute, 90-second, 2-minute explanation or rant on something. Then you can push that out, and you're sitting there with them. You've got an angle where the two of you are on camera, and if you're sitting there with them, then you start to get some of their authority in the people's minds that follow them. So I think that that you should be doing both if possible, especially if you could video the podcast. You'll be able to knock two birds out with one stone. All right, let's see. Fifth question, final question. I am not really comfortable putting myself out there, but I know I need to start. Where do you suggest I begin? So this is a big one especially with video. Well, with any content though, people just don't really know where to get started. And I really like Gary Vee talks about 1 is greater than 0 all the time. And that is such a good way to think about it. It's just do something. Just get the ball rolling. You can always delete the video. I always like having people start with some Facebook Lives, just because they don't overthink it. They have to just get started, and there's no editing a Facebook Live. It is what it is. And by doing that, you'll want to get better at it. You won't want it to suck. So you'll try to improve it along the way. But if you're not, if you're just not comfortable, you don't have to post them. You can practice the videos, and you can practice them 100 times. But at some point you'll start to you'll realize that it isn't as hard. The other thing that I recommend to people when they get started, when they start with us as clients, most of them have done no content. I would say the majority of our clients have done no content up to that point. Other than the one-off videos, but no consistent video production. So what I tell them, or what they like about working with us, is that there's a structure, there's a plan. It's been done before. It's not. They overthink it when they've never done it before and they're thinking about doing it. So what I think is best is, if you just go on Google and search for, good video scripts or educational video script or structure. Structure is usually a good one, because they'll be the first 30 seconds you say you do this, the next 2 minutes you do that, or the middle of it you do that, and then the end is this. Because it's really just 3 parts. It's the intro, it's the middle piece, and it's the outro or the call to action. So with when I do a video for my brand, what I'll do is if I can, I'll try to tie something in that is going on, in my day, right? So if I don't know what's a good example is. I just did a video where I was in front of the Bean, which is right across the street back there. So I went out there, and it was early morning where nobody was there. But if you today's Sunday, it's cold out, so there's not as many people. But in the summertime when it's warm, in the summertime when it's warm, there'll be 100 people down there just swarming around like little ants. So I had thought about this before, and it was kind of a metaphor for creating content in your area. If you're an early mover, you get the advantage. When the people in the morning that are there by themselves, they can take all the Instagram pictures that they want. They're jumping in the air, and they're doing all the things that they want to do, where it's just them and the Bean. But if you try to do that on Sunday afternoon in the summertime, you're not going to get that opportunity because there's going to be people everywhere taking pictures. So what I did the video about was, I think the video was, you know, why you want to be, you know, the first one in your community to create content, right? So my intro would be, what's up? This is Dr. Nick Silveri with Leverage Media. And today I want to talk to you about why it's so important to be the first person in your community to start creating consistent content. Then I'll go into the bean part of it. I'll be like, well, here we are in front of the bean here in Millennium Park. And, you know, and then I'll explain how in the morning there's no one here, and in the afternoon there's no one there. And, or I'm sorry, in the afternoon there's lots of people there. And then I'll go into, you know, it's kind of like with social media. In a town of 100,000 people, not, you know, there's probably no chiropractors that are consistently creating good content. So if you can be the first one, you're going to get the advantage, just like these people get the advantage of taking a picture by themselves, right? So I always try to like tie it in with something. If I can't tie it in, then I'll just try to find like a pretty place to have as a backdrop. But that's the script I like. So I do the intro of like, what's the title of the video? Then I have my little metaphor or whatever. Then I do the content piece of it where I'm trying to teach one thing. That's, you know, that's important. You just teach one thing. And at the end, I really just do a close where it's like, hey, I hope you found value on this one. See you on the next one. I don't do any real call to action. I'm like, if they think I'm smart and they want to do business with me, then they can figure it out. But you can like request likes. You can ask them to click the button, you know, if they want to send them to a landing page. So having a structure, I found really, really helps with people that are just starting out in videos. So I would recommend just Googling or going to YouTube on how to structure a video. And there'll be 5 billion results that you can look at and find the one that resonates with you the most. If you want to do a 60-second video, it's going to be different than a 10-minute video. So so type that in, you know, how to structure an Instagram 60-second video is going to be different than how to structure a YouTube 10-minute video. So I think doing some research and finding some guidance and some structure around what you want to do, because the content is usually the easy part. Like the teaching part is the easy part. What gets people hung up is like, well, how do I start it? How do I finish it? How do I like transition it? So get the structure, practice it a few times by yourself, do some Facebook Lives to where it's just, I mean, not that many people are going to be, let me see how many people are watching right now on. Yeah, like I don't even know if there's anybody that's watching on Instagram right now. And on Facebook, there might be a few. So, but I don't care. Like I'm going to take this recording and use it and boost it out however I want it. So like, just don't, like, no one's going to see it. Like if you have an office that has 1,000 likes on your page, like maybe 10, 50, 100 people maybe will be on it when it's live. And then if you leave it up, you know, 100, 150 will probably see it. But if you just want to delete it afterwards, you can't. Like you can delete the post, you could practice without doing live, but you know, I would just try it out. The more reps you get in on this stuff, the better. Like no one's gonna like think you're terrible because you sucked on your first few videos. So just get started. 1 is greater than 0. Don't get a script, just get a structure that you can do for like every video. All right. Let me see if there are any questions here on Facebook. Sorry, podcast, just checking here. Nothing there. Nothing on Instagram. All right. So that is going to be it for today. Like I said, if you have any questions in the future, please hit ask or hashtag askdrnick. Send it to me on Facebook or on Instagram. And love answering these questions for you. A lot of these I pull from conversations that I have throughout the week that I think are going to be really valuable for people that that don't get on calls with me or don't get to hear it. And I hate that a lot of the conversations that I have are just one-on-one, so like everybody else doesn't get the value for it. So I try to pull the ones out that I think will be useful for the most people. But if you have any specific ones, please let me know. I always try to go live at 4 p.m. Central on Sunday, unless I'm traveling, which shouldn't be for the rest of the year. So if you have any questions for me, please hit me up, and we'll see you on the next episode.